what are successful people doing that I'm not doing? The real difference was when I started focusing on making money instead of being creative.
There is an epic battle that artists have had to fight between two sides since the beginning of time. And Scotty ATL, an ATL artist, if y'all haven't figured that out, he has broken this down beautifully, talking about this struggle and how he had to go through his journey of evolving to find success in the music industry. Check this clip out here. I think y'all will get a lot of value from it.
In the music industry, we focus on being creative every day. So that means you go to the studio every day, you think that that's gonna make you rich, but you just focusing on being creative. So you grow in that area. Yes. You become more and more creative, right? When the business not really about what you made, it's about what you did after you made it.
That right there is the bar. That's the bar right there. And I hadn't even finished this clip, so that's the first time I'm hearing that. We're gonna let him finish. But I love the fact that he points out that you are growing creatively. That work is like resulting in something. You just aren't getting a sense of the benefit, or you're probably being frustrated because you're not seeing the outside benefit because you aren't doing the business side and figuring out how to think about make money every day, which is what the business people are thinking about.
And so when I started putting that together and started thinking, okay, how can I make money every day? I don't care if it's $25.
And then the way he ended that is that small detail. How can I make money every day if it's $25? And then it grows, it grows, it grows. We're like, oh, how can I make $500 this month? How can I make $1,000 this month? Right? How can I make $5,000 this month? And it keeps going and going and going. So yeah, no, I love this clip because I think that is the missing part. But I think the way he said it, especially being an artist from his sense of the struggle, is literally the difference. You're thinking about this thing every day, which you should be. The struggle is about how do you also think about this other thing. And maybe, you know, y'all gotta put the argument, do what's best for you. Maybe it's a 70% creative every day and 30%. How do I make some money out of this? But get that little trickle effect going so you can start that process, because the universe fills the gaps that we focus in, right?
And it's like you build a muscle that you work out. You know what I'm saying? It's like doing squats and wondering why your bench press ain't going up. You know what I'm saying? It's
That's
like you've been all legs, bro. So, and like we all go through it, right? Because a large majority of people that get into the creative industry, we usually start with like a love for a very specific thing that pushed us there, right? Like we've been through it, man. I remember the realization I made it, like, damn, running these marketing campaigns ain't gonna really grow the agency. As sad as it sounds, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like as crazy as it sounds, right? You like, damn, if me and Sean focus our energy every day on just making sure the campaigns go, then the agency would die. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, if we don't do it, who gonna do it? You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a hard realization to come through to realize that maxing out your skill set on your creative talent isn't going to fix the business around you. It's a very hard reality to come to terms with. You know what I'm saying? But the faster you come to terms with it, the faster you can start focusing on your weaknesses. And like you said, it snowballs. So that one day turns into 30, that 30 turns into 3 months, that 3 months turns into 3 years. The next thing you know, you're in a position to where you can do both at a really high level. And I think that's where a lot of artists really fuck up. We'll look at bigger artists and then be like, okay, say Drake, right? Like Drake can be in the studio for 10 hours a day working on his craft and then spend the other 8 hours taking business meetings, talking to different people. Like, damn, I can do that. But what you don't realize is that he had to work himself into a position to be able to do that. One, just to be able to physically handle it, but then two, to have the infrastructure around him that supports all the other things that he's not doing while he is focusing on those things, right? Wherever you put your energy, wherever you water, there's another plant that's going to die because you're not putting water over there. You know what I'm saying? It's just the reality of...
You only got so much water.
So much water, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to think about your business almost like a garden. Like if I focus just on the tomatoes, the onion's going to die. If I focus just on the onions, the cucumber's going to die. How can I get to each of these things individually? Or maybe you take 1 year to get really good at growing tomatoes and onions, and then next year you come focus on cucumbers. You know what I'm saying? Like there's not a right or wrong to it, but I feel like, you know, we see so many low-level artist careers die before they can even take off because in their minds, if I just get this music shit right, it's gonna fix everything. It's gonna shine through. And like I know a lot of talented unsuccessful artists, you know what I'm saying? Because they
That's a
don't
fact.
focus on the other stuff.
I remember when I had that talk with Ryan Leslie, he was like, I got good at all these instruments and so good at music because I thought if I just became the dopest dude in the world, people were going to find me and then I was going to have a career.
I thought you meant like you gave Ryan Leslie that advice. I was like,
Nah.
that's crazy, but you ain't never talked about it. Like,
Hey, Ryan, if you don't mind remixing the story, bruh, go ahead and put me as the sage advisor in your career, in your life. I was probably like 10 years old at the time. Hey, mister, you know that you're not going to win like that. But like, so he did that. He had that realization.
yeah.
You just talked about the realization we can't just work on these campaigns all day or the agency isn't going to grow. There has to be this other side. Scotty ATL just talked about, hey, I realize I'm in the studio. I'm being creative every day, but that's not going to grow the business.
Yep.
So I think the key factor is realization, right? Because you just said, yo, you could just do cucumbers and onions. You could do cucumbers and tomatoes or just cucumbers. You can focus at periods of times and do it in an order that works best for you.
Mm-hmm.
But you are going to need all of these things, number one.
Yep.
But to do that, number two, you actually have to realize that this has to be done. The problem is if I'm just working on growing these tomatoes and I don't realize I need onions, right?
Yeah,
I'm just being creative. I don't realize this business, it needs to get done. But if I'm like, yo, I'm being creative, I'm growing in 6 months, I'm going to get to the business side. That's when we have a strategy.
Yeah.
Like without awareness, you don't have a strategy. You just lost.
Yeah. Well, artists don't want to talk about, man, when the money ain't coming in, it's hard to be creative anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's very hard to be creative when you're struggling. You know what I'm saying? You trying to, you in survival mode, right? Like we do it. You know what I'm saying? You most creators are in positions where you learn how to get through that and do it. But it's much easier being creative when shit is taken care of. Like I said, now I can sit down at the marketing campaign, but I can focus on this because all these other things are taken care of. Like I have the energy to make sure this thing goes the way it needs to go.
Right.
You know what I'm
That
saying?
attention's not split.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a fact. And this is yet another clip from No Labels Necessary. We are, well, shit, I fucked that up. I am Brandman Sean.
And I'm Corey.
And we out.
Peace.